Okay, so I did this wrong. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So today is a very special day. We are going to be making not only cinnamon rolls, but guys, these are gingerbread cinnamon rolls. A gingerbread brioche cinnamon roll, and I'm so excited because I've been wanting to make cinnamon rolls for like years now, but a few years ago I made like a traditional cinnamon roll and it did not turn out at all. It was dry, it didn't have a whole lot of flavor. So this is my redemption for cinnamon rolls. So I'm following a recipe by Have to Bake Harvest. She is like my favorite recipe developer that I know of right now. So the exact recipe is called Easy Gingerbread Brioche Cinnamon Rolls with Cinnamon Brown Butter Frosting. Doesn't that sound scrumptious? So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. So to start, we need a big bowl or a stand mixer. I'm just going to use a bowl and do it with my hands because you don't need to knead it for so long. And our ingredients for the dough is 3.5 to 4 cups of flour, about a teaspoon of active dry yeast, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of salt. We need 6 tablespoons of room temperature butter, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 large eggs, and 3/4 of a cup of warm whole milk. To start with, that's pretty easy. And now what we need to do is to mix it all together. So first things first, we gotta sift through the flour 3.5 cups. So I was actually watching Ina Garden making scones on Bon Appetit, and she was saying that the best thing for flour is just to kind of like pick it up a little bit, drop it, and then scoop from there. And then if you're doing that, then it's going to stop it from being too packed and you're actually getting too much flour than you actually need. And then I have this almost antique flour sifter, and it's actually from my grandmother. Right, so now we have our flour nice and sifted. It's very smooth, no clumps in it at all. And now we just add the rest of the dry ingredients. So that's going to be the salt, the ground ginger, and the yeast. Half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of salt, and then the recipe says 1 package of this one specific type of yeast, but usually in a package is about half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, so maybe I'm gonna look up exactly like what a package is. Okay, so I think if I do a teaspoon, that's pretty safe. And there we go. So now we just mix this up a little bit just to combine the ingredients. That should be good. And now for the wet ingredients, I'm going to need 3/4 of a cup of whole milk, and just to heat it up a little bit, I'm just going to put it in the microwave for maybe 20 seconds. So now it's really easy. We just put all of the wet ingredients directly into here and then we start mixing. So here goes the milk, the butter, both of the eggs, And then lastly, the 2 tablespoons of honey. And there's 2. So with a handy dandy wooden spoon, I'm just going to mix this until it's completely combined. So if you're not using an electric mixing machine with a dough hook, you are gonna have to continue mixing this by hand, because I was able to like start combining it with a spoon, but it's a little too thick for that now. So clean hands going into the dough. Alright, so I've been kneading it for a few minutes, and now it has formed this beautiful little ball of dough. And I did add a little bit more flour. In the recipe it does say to add the remaining half a cup of flour if need be, or less, just until it pulls away from the sides but it's not too sticky. So I'm pretty sure that's what I have. You know, it's not sticky, but there isn't like a whole bunch of flour left over, so I'm pretty sure that's good. And now we cover the bowl and let it rest. The recipe says room temperature anywhere from 15 minutes or a few hours. I'm probably going to leave it for about an hour, and so we will check on it then in an hour. Also, I am like kind of considering like beeswax wrap instead of using plastic when I'm doing baking. But at the same time, I've watched other like chefs and bakers, and they actually say that because the plastic gives it such a good seal, it's actually like, in a lot of cases, it's better to use plastic than to just lay a towel over top, you know? It actually makes a difference. I don't know if beeswax wrap would be the same or not, just because I don't really like using plastic wrap on everything. So yeah. Okay, we are back. It has been about an hour to an hour and a half. I have my ball of dough, which has risen a little bit, not too much, but I don't think it's supposed to rise so much right now, so I think that's okay. I've also prepared my pan. I just greased it with some butter. And right now we are going to make the gingerbread sugar cinnamon filling. So to start, we need 6 tablespoons of butter, which is about half a cup or 113 grams. Alright, here is our butter. Next we need 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger again. We need a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And then we need half a cup of brown sugar. And finally, 3 tablespoons of molasses. Now we just give it a really good mix. Okay, so now that our filling is mixed and prepped and ready to go, we're going to set that aside, and it's time to roll out the dough. So we're gonna roll it into a rectangle 10 by 16 inches. What is that in centimeters? I don't know inches very well. Okay, gonna need a tape measure. Okay, so 10 by 16. Oh, okay, I'm already there. Now we are going to spread all of this all over this. This is a thick layer of filling. I hope I'm doing this right. But I do remember that the first time I made cinnamon rolls, I feel like it needed way more filling, so then maybe having a good thick layer is a good thing. We'll see. Okay, I'm not gonna touch it anymore. So, okay, so I did this wrong. It was supposed to just be the butter and the molasses that you spread over it, and then you sprinkle on the sugar. I didn't do that, so we'll just have to live with it. But this is not the correct way, apparently. Now we roll it. And it says to try and keep it as tight as possible. It's working. I have my rule. Okay, now we cut it and place it into our lovely dish. Wow, 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 wow. Now we place them into here. Wait a minute. I was supposed to put parchment. Alright, so all of our cinnamon rolls are cut and placed into the final baking dish. So now we need to cover them and let them sit for another 20 to 30 minutes. Your eyes do not deceive you, there has been in fact a great passage of time. I soon realized after completing the cinnamon rolls that I was missing a key component for the rest of this baking video. I did not have the cream cheese for the cream cheese icing. So we ran to the store, had to get that, and this is now evening time, hours later. So what I'm doing now is making the icing. I start by browning the butter in a pan, and then I am cooling it off in a little ice bath so that it doesn't melt all of the icing together. The ingredients for the icing are the brown butter, cinnamon, vanilla extract, confectioner's sugar, and of course, cream cheese.
Delicious.
Decadent.
Thanks, guys, for approving